So today we'll be talking about this thing right here, the thing I'm always using when I travel and trade since about 2 months from now, an iPad Pro. Now I've done a video on this in the past, but I want to go into how I use this iPad to trade, what things I have on it, what platforms I use, what tips I recommend you, and whether or not an iPad can be a good tool for trading while traveling. So we'll get to that. I gotta check out from my hotel room here. It's a bit messy, but we'll have to check out, bring our things back to the apartment in Bangkok. And I did a video while I was staying here. You'll see it on the channel if you want. Let's get this packed up. Let me bring my iPad back to the apartment, and I'll show you how I use this iPad for trading. Let's dive right in. So the iPad M1 Pro, I've been using it for roughly 3 months now, and every time I leave my apartment here in Bangkok, I take this iPad, I leave my laptop behind, and then just go do my work, do my trading, everything of the sort, only on this iPad. Today I want to talk about the good things, some less good things about this iPad, some things I don't really like about it, and we'll get to discuss how that works out and how you can use your iPad for trading or not use it depending on who you are and what your needs are. Now, first thing I want to talk about here is the trading apps. The number one app I've been using on my iPad is, as you see here, TradingView. This is the best app I feel for trading. Now, there's a few other options, including FX Trade, which is by the broker Oanda. You could also use MT4, MT5, which are, in my opinion, very lagging behind for the iPad and also disappeared from the App Store recently. So forget about using these apps for your trading. Overall, TradingView is pretty good. Now, there's one thing that kind of annoys me is the fact that if you go and see the brokers on your TradingView, because you cannot place trades on your TradingView iPad app, but if you go here, let me just log on for my broker here, you can see there are only very limited brokers in the iPad, only these brokers. So there's only 6 of them, excluding of course the paper trading, which makes it very limited for the broker users. Now if you go on TradingView on the desktop app or the website itself, you can see there's going to be about like 20 different brokers. There's a lot of them. And that means that you have more choice for placing trades with the broker you use. Here it's very limited, so I had to move funds from my account with 8cap, which is a broker I usually use for TradingView, all the way to Oanda, and I was able to trade that way still on the iPad. But just keep in mind there's a lot less brokers available on TradingView for the iPad version compared to the desktop version. Now you can still go of course on the browser version of TradingView for your iPad. So you go in the browser, Safari, go see TradingView, but it's a little bit laggy there. You cannot really move with the mouse, with the trackpad, you can't really zoom in. But I mean, it's still an option you could do if you want to really go on TradingView and place trades there correctly. I think the iPad version is much better because you can just scroll, and it's a very good use also of the Apple Pencil. So you're able to just draw on your chart easily. Things are very smooth. You can just scroll through the list of currency pairs with your pen, and that makes it for a very good and enjoyable experience. On the browser version, a little bit less good here. Other than that, like I said, the FX Trade app is alright, but not the best. I would not recommend it for most people. So that leaves us with just one app for most people on the iPad here to use to trade. Now, if you want to look at other apps, I made a video not long ago about these apps I recommend for traders. Go check it out here in the corner. You can watch that video directly, which is going to give you some apps you can use for your phone, your iPad to trade and to become a better trader. So check this out. Quite useful video. Okay, now we get to this thing over here, which is the Apple Pencil. Now, I've used before a Samsung tablet. You remember I've done many videos on that in the past. Galaxy Tab S7, and that was a good tablet, but the pen was lagging behind. You cannot really use it for TradingView too much. The pen was awesome, but on TradingView on these apps, it was not very good. On this though, it's quite useful. I can very simply draw on the TradingView app. I can very simply make notes. I can even do my trading journal on the iPad if I want to with the pen. Things are very nice here. I think it's a good experience. If you were to go in the browser though, things are not as smooth, but it can kind of work also a little bit. But that's something you have to get used to. Then it comes to the thing where I had a bit of issue is when it comes to the trackpad and the keyboard. Now you can see here I have the Fancy Magic keyboard from Apple, which is alright. It's a good keyboard and it's actually the best one I found, and the trackpad also. Previously I was using this other keyboard here by Logitech, which led me with some glitches. Sometimes I would be kind of using the trackpad, then it would like switch apps or whatever, really weird, then stay stuck there for a while. So I definitely recommend the Magic keyboard from Apple here if you want to use your iPad to trade. It just makes it for a lot more smoother experience, and it's actually a lot better. I had to play around a little bit with the sensitivity to make it more sensitive, where you can like move faster in the trackpad. Other than that though, it's I think pretty good. There's still some issues with like the zooming part on the iPad. So if you are on the browser with your iPad and you go on TradingView and you want to zoom into the charts, you cannot do that. It's very weird. Same thing on the TradingView app actually. You cannot really move back and forth on the charts with the trackpad, which is very weird. So you can zoom in, zoom out, but you cannot go back in time. That can only be done with your finger, which is a little bit annoying here. Something you gotta deal with. When it comes to the battery life, I've found that, of course, battery life is a lot less on my MacBook Pro. I have a MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip, which is very good in battery life, and you can keep it for like a very long time. But this iPad is less than that, of course. Now you don't need to have a big battery necessarily, because I'm able to go out the whole day, work, then come back to my apartment in the evening, and the battery might be at like 70% or 60%. And that's plenty for me. I'm able to do at least like 2 days with the same battery without charging it at all, which is quite good. Much better than all these Windows computer for sure. And the main reason in the first place why I bought this iPad was for portability. Now the MacBook Pro is getting fairly heavy, and I did it in the beginning. I was carrying it in my backpack every day going around, but it's a lot more heavy than the iPad. Like the iPad you can just put in your bag. It's a lot smaller, of course. Much thinner, of course, which is a good thing. And you're able to just take it, go wherever you want the whole day, work, and then you don't have this like heavy weight in your backpack when you walk around, especially in the heat in Bangkok. And that makes it for a better travel experience in my opinion. That's kind of the reason why I got the iPad in the first place, and I was pretty happy with this overall. Now I got to include this here because Apple recently launched with their iPadOS 16.2 the full monitor support. Before, when you would plug in your iPad to a computer, you would have these black bars on the side, which is really ugly. But now you can connect your iPad to a computer and kind of have a real desktop experience, which I found to be more or less good. The TradingView app, as I'm recording this video, is not able to go full screen on this monitor support. But if you want to travel, connect your iPad to your monitor and just have more space, be able to open multiple apps at the same time with their new Stage Manager, then that makes it alright. That makes it good. I'm also using Stage Manager on the iPad itself when it's not plugged to the computer, and the experience is alright. But I don't really see a big usefulness for this for trading unless you want to like log your trades, go back and forth between your chart and something else. Other than that, it's kind of limited. Maybe you want to have the news releases on one side, your charts on the other side. That could be a way to do it. But I still feel like it's not very useful for trading at the moment though. There could be some improvement there, especially with that full monitor support. It's kind of laggy a little bit. I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, it's good to connect your iPad like a laptop to a monitor and use it whenever you travel or get to a hotel or something to have more space there. So quite nice. Now, let me just summarize here the downside. I think this is a really good iPad. I think there's a lot you can do with this when you travel. There's a few downsides though in terms of using the charts, being able to do everything you want there. There's a few websites that are still kind of like laggy a little bit in the iPad, some things you cannot really do too well. The trackpad is lagging a lot behind in terms of the one you would see on your laptop, for example. But I think that there's a lot to it. You won't be able to run algos there for sure, but you could still do it through a VPS. And that's something that kind of annoys me a little bit to have to connect to a VPS all the time to do my backtesting or to find some algo settings or do some stuff with the algos I run. But I mean, the same thing still applies to my MacBook. I still have to connect a hard drive to access my Windows through Parallel and do algo stuff there. So it's a pain, but that's kind of what you get for these Apple devices overall. It's still possible, you can still do it, but you gotta go through these things. Another downside is I still feel like I'm less productive when I'm on an iPad compared to a laptop. And I'm not sure why that is, but it feels like on the iPad it's a lot more for entertainment. So you can watch videos while you do some other stuff. You can do a lot more things. You have less screen space, which makes it more crammed a little bit sometimes. And you tend to like have a lot of hard time going back between different apps, different things. And I feel like that's maybe because of the iPad. Maybe if I had a bigger display, it could be different. I'm not sure about it too much. I have an 11-inch over here. But there's this thing where you gotta go back home all the time, go back between different apps. A lot of this efficiency you get on your laptop, you don't get it from the iPad. But if you go through these things, learn how to use the iPad better over time, I think it's still a good tool to be able to trade and travel, especially when you look at the benefits of the portability, the benefits of using a pen also to draw things if you want, the benefits of being able to just stick in your backpack very easily, go anywhere you want, and save a lot of space there. I think that's a good thing. So overall, it's a good product. I want you to leave me your thoughts below in the comment section if you use an iPad to trade now or don't use an iPad. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you got some tips on how to use this iPad better for trading. I want to hear your comment below. I want to make this a good place to collaborate and have people share their advice and their thoughts there. And with that being said, I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year upcoming in a couple of days. And I'll catch you back here in the next video next year. Ciao.